By virtue of the authority vested in me, I do hereby call to order the 200th meeting of the Crapsman Mystery Club. And now, it is my privilege to introduce our friend Dr. Mike, otherwise known as the Crapsman.
Thank you, Mark. Good evening, everybody. You've just heard Mark open the 200th meeting of our Mystery Club. As you know, we gather together at this time each night to explore the supernatural and to tear aside the veil of darkness, to prove that coolers and dice control are only figments of a man's imagination, to show that wherever there is a mystery, it's been created by human hands. And so, with that thought in mind, I bid you all welcome to the Mystery Club. Since we have important matters to consider tonight, I move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the last meeting.
I second the motion, Crapsman.
All in favor, say aye. Aye! Opposed? The motion is carried. Are there any questions from the floor? Yes, Richard?
I'm a little puzzled about something, Crapsman.
All right, let's see whether we can unpuzzle you. What is it, Richard?
So, let's say you've got a $20 horn. That would be $5 each on the 2, 3, 11, and 12. And let's say the guy rolls a 12. Well, the 12 pays 30 to 1. 30 times $5 is $150. But every time I'm at the table, they only pay me $135. What gives?
What you're forgetting, Richard, is that although your bet on the 12 has won, the other parts of the horn bets, the bets on the 2, 3, 11, they have all lost. There were $5 on each of the three numbers. So yes, you won $150 on the 12, but you lost $15 on the remaining three numbers of the horn bet. $150 minus $15 is $135.
Oh, well, I think that clears it up. Thanks.
You're quite welcome, Richard. Now, if there are no further questions, we'll proceed with our story.
Oh, isn't it a new one tonight, isn't it, Mr. Crapsman?
Yes, Marilyn, a brand new one.
A cooler story?
Yes, indeed, Richard. It's about the Cooler of El Rancho. Now, turn the lights low, Mark. That's better. Now, the story begins 3 years ago when Mark and I were in Las Vegas. We'd been invited to dinner at the Hotel El Rancho by my friend Wayne McAllister. It was a wild and lonely night with a storm brewing, and the fact that my sister had gotten food poisoning at the El Rancho on a prior occasion didn't help matters any. There were 5 of us at the dinner table: Mr. McAllister, burlesque performer Gloria Leroy, businessman Belden Katelman, Mark, and myself. We had just finished dessert and were engaged in conversation.
More Mountain Dew, Dr. Mike?
Thank you, Miss Leroy.
You can pour me another glass, by Joe.
Of course, Mr. Katelman.
Beastly weather. And beastly city to be having it in, I must say. Had I known the weather was going to be as rotten as this, I would have stayed in London, I declare.
Katelman, what's with the fake British accent? You're Southern California born and raised, same as me.
Hogwash! How are you standing the weather, Dr. Mike?
Oh, it isn't the weather I mind, Mr. Katelman. It's the fact that it seems to make this cowboy/frontier-styled interior so chill and damp. The wood-burning fireplace is decorative, but I prefer steam radiators myself. You were about to say something, Mr. McAllister?
I was about to say that Mr. Katelman, since he has so much more money than I, can have those improvements put in after he buys the El Rancho.
Buy the El Rancho? Have you no sense of the Spanish language? You're literally saying, buy the ranch.
Poor Katelman anal is all get out. Will you buy the property or not?
Oh, I say, do you still expect me to buy this ruddy place, McAllister?
You said you would if I proved that dice control is not possible.
Dice control? Gosh, are there shooters who use dice control at the El Rancho, Mr. McAllister?
Of course not, Mark. It's just that a silly legend has grown up about the place.
Now look here, McAllister, let's face facts, what? I need a hotel casino, and I'm willing to buy this place if you can assure me that I won't lose money at the craps table due to some dice controller. And by Joe, you know there's only one way to prove that.
That's exactly how I've planned to prove it.
Wayne, you don't really mean...
I most certainly do, Miss Leroy.
Oh, but you can't. Bringing an own dice controller into the casino will wipe you out.
Listen to me, all of you. There's not one of you at this table who's not aware of the fact that I'm a poor man. Yes, a poor man. Oh, I have a hotel/casino, but it costs me money. It doesn't make me money. There's this fellow, Ed Thorpe, who just can't seem to lose at the blackjack table, and he's bleeding me dry. I've got to sell this place, and Katelman says he'll buy it if I can prove that dice control doesn't exist. Well, I intend to prove it tonight.
What was that?
Oh, nothing to alarm yourself about, Miss Leroy. There are millions of wild dogs on the Las Vegas Strip. Sometimes they bay and howl.
Yes, of course. Silly of me to be so nervous.
Well, as I was saying, I will invite a so-called dice controller to the casino this evening and let him play to his heart's content. I shall prove that the legend has no foundation in fact.
If you don't mind telling me, Mr. McAllister, what exactly is the legend of these dice controllers?
Of course I'll tell you, Dr. Mike. The legend of dice controllers at the El Rancho dates back to the mid-1800s.
But the hotel was built less than a decade ago.
Do you mind, sir? These dice controllers, or dice influencers as many of them prefer to be called, claim that they can roll fewer sevens than the average player, resulting in huge losses for the casino.
And you propose to invite one of these dice controllers to the casino tonight?
I do.
But if these people can do as you say they can...
I don't say they can. The legend says it. Oh, I don't deny these people believe they can do what they claim, but it's just an old wives' tale, and it's become more distorted with each telling.
But, McAllister, what of the cooler?
Oh, more of the same legend, Dr. Mike. It says that there are certain people who, when they enter a casino or approach a table game, they cause bad luck almost immediately. It also says that a strange-looking cooler has been seen floating through the hallways of the El Rancho for years. Well, don't believe a word of it. I shall prove tonight that this silly legend is not true.
By Joe, McAllister, you prove it and I'll buy the El Rancho at your own figure.
Ha! You just said the El Rancho yourself.
Bah!
I'll make a call right now to invite a well-known dice controller to come play. Then at midnight we shall head to the casino and I'll prove that he has no more or less chance of winning at the craps table than any other shooter.
Well, it's midnight, Mr. McAllister.
Yes, and I see that our dice controller is over at the craps table. Come, I'll introduce you. Mr. Brecksoft.
Oh, Mr. McAllister, good evening. Thank you for inviting me tonight.
Not at all. Let me introduce you to some of my friends. Gloria Leroy, Belden Katelman, Mark Duvall, Dr. Mike. This is Mr. Neil Brecksoft, world-renowned dice controller. Well, Brecksoft, are you ready?
Yes, indeed. I've already bought in, and the dice are heading my way.
New shooter, coming out. Oh, look here, McAllister. I'll buy the bloomin' place. Don't let a dice controller play. You could lose millions.
That's quite sporting of you, Katelman, but I must prove to you that dice influencing is just a myth. Listen, the wild dogs are supplying just the right atmosphere.
Oh, gosh, Mr. McAllister, I'm scared. This could be financial ruin for you.
Don't fret your young head about me, Mark.
Mr. McAllister's quite right, Mark.
Yeah, but...
He's just trying to prove what we've been saying for a long time, that dice influencing does not exist except in the imagination.
Yes, of course. It's perfectly silly.
Dice out.
Look, Brecksoft is about to roll.
6, easy 6. Mark it. We're out on 6.
You've got a point of 6. Brecksoft must roll another 6 to win.
Oh, I don't know why, but I have a feeling I could use a stimulant.
Nonsense, Belden. It's just a craps game.
Yes, let's all keep calm.
Wait, what's that? A figure approaching the table. As if floating on air. Gee, craps, man. What is it? Is it a cooler?
Mark, you know there are no such things as coolers.
Then what is it? It looks so frightening.
Dice out. Hands high.
Oh, my God. It's Dr. Mike's dad.
Michael, how you doing?
7 out. Line away.
All right, Mark, turn up the lights.
So, is that the end of the story, Craps Man?
Yes, it is, Richard. I hope you all learned a valuable lesson.
What just happened? Did Dr. Mike's dad just cause a 7 out? Is he a cooler?
How many times does Crapsman have to tell you there are no coolers?
Now. Don't lose your temper, Mark. After all, Marilyn is a new member of the club. Be patient with her. All I can tell you, Marilyn, is this. As soon as my dad came up to the table, the so-called dice influencer 7'd out.
Yeah, we got that. So I'm not exactly sure what the point of the story was. I mean, if your point was to teach us that dice influencing doesn't exist, it sounds like you tried to prove it by teaching us that coolers do exist. And what about Mr. Cadelman? Did he end up buying the El Rancho? It kind of feels like you left out the ending to the story.
Well, I think that's all the time we have for today's meeting. I will now accept a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Do I hear a second? I said, do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Close the meeting, Mark.
By virtue of the authority vested in me, I do hereby adjourn the 200th meeting of the Crapsman Mystery Club. The 201st meeting will take place next week at the same time over the same stations.